Why we love our neighbors. This is where Jesus turns the religious man's question on its head. If you remember, the question started with the law expert asking what he needed to do to get to heaven. And I explained to you the whole point of Jesus' life was that you couldn't do anything. That's why he came. He came to save you, which is why Jesus puts an interesting twist into the story. Are you ready? You have to think with me. Why have a Samaritan be the hero? Why not tell the story where just another Jew comes along and is the hero? He didn't need it to be a Samaritan to make his point. Well, why not say, for example, why not say, so the man's there, he's bleeding, and the Jew came by, the priest came by, and then the Levite came by, and then just a really good old regular Jew who had love in his heart, and he held the man. Go be like that guy. Why not let that be the point of the story? Why did Jesus choose a man who would have represented the total opposite of the man that he's telling the story to? Why choose a character that this man has nothing in common with? Here's why. What if the person that we are most supposed to identify with in the story, and that this lawyer is supposed to identify with, what if the person we're most supposed to identify with is not the priest, it's not the Levite, it's not the Good Samaritan? What if the primary person we're supposed to identify with in this story is the guy bleeding on the side of the road? And what if somebody who had every reason to hate us and every reason to consider himself our enemy, and who was very unlike us, chose to walk down the path that we had put ourselves on and take upon himself our pain and stop to help us? What if the really good Samaritan in this story is Jesus, who puts himself into our path, takes upon himself our flesh, and endures the suffering that we had caused ourselves? Jesus is asking the man, what if you were bleeding to death on the side of the road and your only hope was an act of free grace from an enemy who did not owe you anything? After you had been rescued like that, what would your life look like? I think your life would be different. You see, Jesus is not giving the lawyer a new rule as much as he is making him aware of a new reality. You see, if we understand Jesus' life, we are the ones that have been saved by radical grace, by a God who had every right to regard himself as our enemy. And see, when we embrace that, we will become givers of radical grace.